What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jonathan Wiseman here with another episode of The Grit. Today, I got one of my favorite people in here of Houston. We go way back. Today, I have Marc Harvey with MarcHarveyBeauty.com. And Marc's going to tell us a little bit about how he got into the business. Before we jump into that, if you get value from this, if you know me, if you know Marc, you want to share some love, spread the love out there, leave a comment, share this podcast, whatever platform you're on. That's what helps keep us going and keeps us motivated. Show some love for Marc Harvey. Marc, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm grinding, man.
Awesome.
How you liking this weather out there, huh?
You know what? I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't raining.
Where did that come from?
But the rain is.
I like the cold too.
I like the cold. Yeah.
Cold I can do. You know, it's my wife. She hates the cold.
Yeah. Really?
I would rather be cold and be able to
every day
cover up. Because once you get hot, there's only so much shit you can take off.
Only so much you can take off. You never get comfortable. Never
exactly.
Always. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. The wet cold, I could do away with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we do on the show is we just want to hear people's journey to entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And share those experiences and stories, the hardships and all that fun shit. And as long as we've known each other, we go back close to 20 years.
Whew. Diapers.
We're not going to tell people how old we are.
No, that's right.
But let's go back. I want to hear your story. I've never heard your whole entire story from beginning to how you got into this. So I'm excited to learn more about you, honestly.
Awesome.
But I know the following is, and you're in such a cool industry. I see you all over the place. The news, different channels. You're killing it on radio.
Gotta stay relevant.
You got to. Well, I'm sure the pretty face helps.
Yeah. Oh, it has.
Well, let's go ahead and take it all back. How'd you get into the beauty business?
So I've always been an artist. That's what I always start off by telling people. I am a consummate artist, period. I never grew up thinking like, oh, I'm going to paint faces when I grow up. I didn't think that way. I just was like, whatever, artistic endeavors there were to be had, I was going to do it. I played the saxophone, I sang, I created things.
Saxophone. How far did you do that in
From
school?
The third grade. I went to all performing arts schools.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that was my thing. Love it. Johnston. Then I decided I wanted to be a chef. Why? I don't know. Well, I do know because I always cooked.
You get to create.
And thought I got to create. I loved cooking at home for myself and my parents and whatever. But then I got into it and I was like, I don't want to be in nobody's kitchen. So I was like, that kitchen's a little bit too hot for me.
And you didn't want to smell like food when you left.
Exactly. So the cooking part I loved, the creating part I loved. And so I went to Barbara Jordan for high school for careers.
And where's Barbara Jordan at?
That's on the north side
of Houston.
North side of Houston,
okay.
Yeah. So it was no football team, no basketball team. All careers.
All career.
Culinary arts, cosmetology, shop, computer, what did they call it back then?
Shop.
Microcomputer.
What?
They called it, yeah. So everything was careers.
Career-oriented.
Career-oriented, yes.
Gotcha. And what grades was that for? What age groups?
High school.
Okay, so typical 10 to 12 or what have you.
Yes. But prior to that, yeah, all arts, everything as far as painting and drawing and sketching and playing the saxophone. And so my life was I was always inundated with some type of art going on in my life.
Gotcha.
Creativity going on in my life. Yeah.
And so it all started then in high school?
That's how it started.
And at what point did you decide, if at all, was it during the high school years you wanted to get into, what would you consider your profession? What are you right now?
So when I tell my story, I say I'm the accidental makeup artist, right? Because I started out doing makeup as a hobby. I always did portraiture, though. I always sketched portraiture. So I knew lighting and contouring and how to mix pastels to make these different color browns and reds and da-da-da-da-da. Never knew that would parlay itself or, into a makeup artistry career, So it
lends itself so well.
Totally, yes.
Absolutely.
It's the foundation of makeup.
Literally,
right. No pun intended. Of makeup artistry, it's knowing the highlights and the contours and the, color theory and color science and all of that. Myself and my sister used to model. my sister much more extensively than I did. And I started doing her makeup for fun.
Sure.
Completely for fun. Not just, when I tell you, it never even dawned on me that it would be, a career path.
So was she a good palette for you, or did she
was.
hate it, or did she love it?
No, she loved it. She loved it. And then my girlfriend started being like, Marc, come over an hour early so you can do our makeup. I'm like, I gotta get myself ready, But I would, of course. And I had a really good girlfriend of mine who was doing makeup who said, Marc, like, you're really great at this. Like, I mean, and she was really into it. She was doing videos and DMX videos and Tamiya videos, a lot of the R&B, late 90s artists. And
that's some of my favorite music.
Me too.
Old school 90s R&B.
All of it. And so she was like, you really should do this. And I was like, oh my goodness, my parents would kill me. Like, because in school, art for me was really to keep me out of trouble.
Sure.
So my parents kind of were like, okay, whatever he wants to do in relation to art, that's what we're going to put him in. And
yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't realize you're going to be in hip hop videos.
No, they didn't. Well, they did. They wanted me to stay out of trouble in school. And then for some reason, I guess they just thought that my love for art was going to dissipate and I was just going to be, sit behind a freaking desk.
Sure.
The rest of my life. That's, how it is. Go to college, get that good paying job with insurance. I mean, that's with those good benefits. I've heard
about
American
those.
dream,
yeah.
Right. We grew up. Our parents are baby boomers. Like, that was what they did, and that's what they wanted you to do. So they were hoping you were gonna grow up out of art and go get a real job. Right.
Gotcha.
That's what it was. It's you've never heard of starving artists. That's what you're gonna be. I'm like, oh, okay. Well.
What did your parents do at that time?
They just didn't understand it. They were just kind of like, what you want to, like, my mom was like, people let you get in their faces? Like, she was just like, they didn't understand it. They were just like, okay, it wasn't sensible to them. Like,
sure.
They were just like,
so
how are you going to make money? They just did not understand the entrepreneurial spirit that you have to have when you are an artist.
Yeah. Well, and it's even like almost a double whammy. Mm-hmm. Does that word whammy show my age?
Yeah. People still say it. Don't worry.
It's like it's like a 2-for-1, because not only do you have the entrepreneurship, but they're, artists are driven so much.
Absolutely.
And when you couple those two together, I mean, it's very hard to steer somebody away from whatever their direction is.
Absolutely.
If that happens.
Absolutely. Well, and I hadn't yet convinced myself even that
Sure.
it was something that I was going to do in a prolonged period of time. I just knew that it was fun then, in my early 20s. And my good friend who became my mentor was like, Marc, you're really great at this. Let's do this. I'll mentor you. You can come with me on photo shoots. And that's really all she had to say. Was like, hey, you can come with me and meet these stars, celebrities, models, and, get paid for it.
Shit, can I go?
I know, right? So it was fun.
And this was also before social media and all that other
exactly.
stuff. So it was hard to get into those doors back then.
It was, and so I'm so grateful for it. And I tell all of the young artists, really, no matter what, platform of artistry you're doing, is to find a mentor or someone where you can apprentice under, because really, without her, I don't know if I would have had the same type of drive
Sure.
that I have, because she was, so giving and so willing to let me learn.
That's amazing.
The artistry side, but more kind of the business side too, and open those doors, because I kind of already had the artistry side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I came in like teaching her some tips and tricks. She was like, what? You can show me how you did that? Show me how you did this? And she had been doing it for already, 10, 15 years. So yeah, that's my story. That's the accidental makeup artist. It was nothing that I grew up saying, I want to paint faces.
Sure.
But
it went in that direction.
It just went in that direction.
It materialized to that.
Right. The whole inertia of my childhood led me to that. But,
Yeah.
consciously, I was not thinking.
Well, that's beautiful. So
Yeah.
you were in your mid-20s when this was going on.
Yes.
At what point did you get that first paycheck or compensation
Ooh.
and then think to yourself, you know what? This is a business.
Right.
Okay, this might work.
Right. Well,
Do you remember that aha moment?
I do remember that aha moment. I was actually marketing. I was doing marketing prior to doing anything related to makeup.
Okay.
I worked for residential property builders, and I worked for one of the best ones in Houston. All of the nice properties on Bering and McHugh and Sage. And I thought I was doing really great for 18.
Sure.
So I graduated high school at 16.
Wow. At 16.
At 16, yeah. Because I went to all magnet schools, performing
amazing.
arts, and then I had an extra credit, and my birthday is in August, so it just kind of worked.
See, I kind of got screwed by my birthday.
Oh, okay.
And I moved from Houston to Florida, where the credits went from 21 to graduate to 28.
Gotcha.
And that's why I'm a high school dropout.
Gotcha.
I got to the end of my senior year,
And found out you needed.
and you go see the counselor, talk about college.
That's right.
This bitch told me I needed to do another semester the following year of high school.
Wow.
And this was like a week before spring break.
Oh, wow.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to spring break. I'm going to think about that.
I'm going to.
I went to spring break. And in Florida, spring break is like 8 weeks long.
Oh, wow.
Because Florida goes this week, and then different
That's right.
sides of America come in different weeks.
Got it.
I stayed out there for the whole 8 weeks of spring break. Never went back to school. But I said that if I ever need to go back, I will.
Gotcha.
Fortunately. And here we are today.
And there you go.
Talking about entrepreneurs.
There you go.
What were you going to ask?
Go. No, I was going to say it kind of was the opposite for me. It was that I only needed like one credit to graduate a whole year early.
Wow.
So I took a government class, I think.
Was worth 2 credits or
which was
something?
right. And
Sweet.
I graduated.
That's
whole year.
amazing.
Yeah. So
I mean, how cool is that to get out of school a year early?
it was great. It was great.
I bet it was.
It was really great. Yeah. Yeah.
So go back. So you were doing some real estate or some mortgage type stuff.
Yes.
And
yes.
so how did that transition from that to beauty business?
The crazy thing is that I thought I was really good at that. Sure. I really did. I mean, we did events that, Texas Department Association, Houston Department Association, and we did these events, and I was marketing for these properties that were really high end at the time. I mean, even today it would be $2,000 for a 1-bedroom is a lot.
Sure.
So I had a really good circle and support group, and we always went out together and whatever. So I just thought, hey, that was going to be my life. I'm going to be in this industry.
Sure.
And like I said, I started working with my sister and meeting kind of the whole model world as well. Meeting the agencies, working with the models behind the scenes. And that's when, like I said, my girlfriend was like, Marc, you're really good. Like, you shouldn't be doing this as a hobby, basically. Yeah.
So what was that first job?
That first job was with an agency where they said, hey, we want to book you directly.
Which agency?
Not through, it was Millennium Models. It was actually right off here in Sugarland. Yeah.
I know Millennium.
Yeah, yeah. And if it wasn't for Tisha, I keep saying my mentor, her name is Tisha. She's still my best friend.
I didn't want to say it out there. I was going to say earlier, do we want to tell your mentor some love?
Yes. Hey, Tisha.
Hey, Tisha.
Baby, how you doing? So if it wasn't for her saying, okay, I know I found a great person in Marc Harvey. He's a great artist. He works well with people because he has a background in marketing. She was the creative director for Millennium Models and Williams Talent.
Okay.
And Williams Talent used to be owned by Dennis Quaid's mom. It used to be Quaid Talent.
Okay.
And then all that talent rolled over to the new management and new owner. And so it was a really great agency. It was
how
really
long
great
were you with
agency.
Millennium?
2 years, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're getting into your mid-20s at this point?
Yes.
Mid to late 20s?
Yes, mid. And Tisha was like, hey, you know what? I want to move to New York with my man. And it was like, okay, so where does that leave me? Well, she was like, well, I'm going to train you to do what I do. Like everything. Doing the classes, teaching the makeup classes, just doing the whole everything creative. As the creative director for that agency, she worked on the model searches, she did the runway classes, she worked with the agency, she worked with the casting directors and all of that. So I was like, okay, well, teach me. And I think she had like a clause in her contract that like if she left or something, she would be penalized or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, or if she left without a replacement.
Gotcha.
So I was her replacement, and that's when I, got that first check, and I was like, okay,
this is gonna work.
I think I'm not interested in anything else. Anything related to real estate, or I don't need to go and find that, a real job, as my dad would say. And, well, not anymore. He doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Back then he used to say that. I mean,
when I owned nightclubs for
about the
10
real
years,
job.
I never had a real job.
Exactly. It's
running multi-million-dollar business, 30 employees, managing everything was not a real business.
No.
I get it.
No. My dad, let me see, probably until 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we were all, I don't know what holiday it was, or maybe we had just had a family gathering, and literally every time he would see me, he would be like, Marc, they got that loan originator position at Chase available. And finally my sister, who, was the closest to me in age and who I started doing, makeup on, and who always validated my talent. Not that my parents didn't, but always was like, okay, if this is what you want to do, this is what you're going to do.
Sure,
like,
to have that support.
She was finally like, Daddy, Marc don't need no job.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear that again. So I guess it took someone else, It's like, Marc is traveling the world. He doesn't need, right.
Well, so. And at that point, did you feel that sense of acceptance where he finally was like, okay?
I think he did. I did. Because now when we talk, it's always about how's your line going. It's like, what's going on with your line?
I mean, how's that make you feel now knowing that, something that you've worked so, and not to mention they pushed you in that direction when you were young.
Absolutely.
And then you graduate from that and you continue down that path, and you feel some void of acceptance.
Right.
And then finally you get it. At what age? Late 20s, early 30s?
Early 30s. Early 30s.
How did that feel?
Early 30s.
I mean,
good.
Everybody wants to please their dad, right?
The funny thing is that I always did anyway. So it wasn't a stretch for,
Gotcha.
when he was saying those things, I knew it was because he didn't understand what
he didn't
I
know
did.
Any better.
He didn't. Right. He didn't know what I did.
And he didn't know that you could turn it into a business.
That's right.
Because we're a little bit old school.
Well, and he didn't know that is what I was doing gradually. I wasn't just out there just painting faces. I was like, okay, this is a means to an end. This is what I want. This is what the goal is. The goal is to be in everyone's home, not just be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have something, a product, whatever,
Well, and that's where you're at now. We're going to get to that in a minute.
Yes.
But it's still, it's great that he was there to support you this whole time.
Absolutely.
But finally, when he accepted it as, okay, this is legit, and he starts speaking to you on that.
Absolutely.
That's got to feel amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
What about mom?
Same thing. Mom has always been like number one cheerleader, still baby boomer from that old school. So still didn't understand the magnitude of where I had gotten in my career. Although she was always saying, okay, wherever you are, be careful, or, you sure aren't afraid to be in that air all the time. That's how you're like, you always in the air. You always flying, so I guess she knew, but she didn't.
Sure.
Like, she still didn't know, okay, what is this artistry thing? Why are people paying $3 and $4 and $5 and in LA $1,000 to have their face done? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't.
Well, and back then, it wasn't glamorized and it wasn't displayed visually.
No, that's right.
That's
right. It was all behind the scenes.
It was behind the scenes.
That's right. No, it's true.
It's true.
It's true.
It's funny because when I think back then anytime anybody said they were in film, they just automatically thought it was like porn.
That's right.
You know, you're either in rap videos or you're in porn.
That's right.
And it's like there's so much now that people are able to see through social media that is allowing people to understand it. So I can easily see baby boomers just didn't get it, until the last 3 to 5 years.
Right.
It's, you know, my dad actually, you know, it's like now he's able to see what I do visually because of all the videos I'm putting out.
Exactly.
Other than that, it was just like, I don't know what's digital marketing.
What does that mean?
What's videography? What's vlogging?
Why do people need you?
Why are you spelling vlog wrong?
Right. Isn't that? I know. I just learned last year that it's a blog, and now you're spelling it with a V.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Well, let's talk about that transition, because you went from, and you were saying your mom's one of your biggest cheerleaders and your siblings. I wanted to ask about that. You said your sister's always been there for you and been your biggest supporter. Do you have just one sibling, your sister?
No,
do you have more?
5 of us.
I thought there was a bunch of. That's what I was going to ask.
The youngest. Yeah, I'm the youngest.
You're the baby too.
Yeah, I'm the baby too.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. But I mean, again, for growing up, they always knew that I was a creative one. So it wasn't, with me, it just, like I said, it wasn't a far stretch to be doing what I'm doing, but I guess just the way you're raised, you know what I mean? Like, we were raised very conservative, very religious too. So it was like, you know.
Well, I'm sure what you were doing was a shock to everybody.
It was
jumping on planes,
like
this underground world, going out to nightclubs. What's going on?
What is Marc Harvey doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was.
You have such a brandable name.
That's what everyone tells me. And like,
I mean, Marc Harvey. They're
like, is that your real name? I get that a lot. Is that your real name? And then I also get, is it Marcus? I'm like, no, it's Marc. My mom wanted to name me Marc. Yeah,
I have a brother Marcus
with a C,
and my brother's name is spelled with a C. Yeah. I guess are all Marcuses with a C?
Right, unless it's like German or something.
I guess Mark would be if it was just Mark, but yours is with a C.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I can see why they asked that, but Marc Harvey, I mean, that's just it's
Marc
a brand.
Harvey. Isn't that crazy?
I just want to put on a Marc Harvey belt and floss it with some Marc Harvey shoes.
What?
Straight up.
I'm working towards all of that.
I know you are. Well, let's kind of move forward to the line. You've got MarcHarveyBeauty.com.
Yes.
You've started your own line.
Yes.
You've got many products.
Yes.
Even seen you bring in some accessories and mechanics and
all devices.
So before you jump into that, tell me, because you were traveling, you were doing the whole makeup in the entertainment world, I guess we'll call it, hospitality entertainment.
Sure.
How did you transition, and when did you transition from that and start coming more over to the cosmetic, the beauty, and the skincare and health and beauty world?
So it's funny. I always, like I said, created, right? And I found that I kept leaning towards the more creative side of it, right? Every time I would say, oh, okay, I'm just going to do makeup, and I kept on like wanting to create. And so the brands that I started working for then would say, okay, well then why don't you also work on our research and development team?
Well, tell me some of those brands.
I
know some of them, but I want the audience to hear.
I guess the first brand that gave me, the freedom to say, hey, let me create this, let me create that, was Luminous Air. It's the TV airbrush. And for all intents and purposes, it was just that when I first came on board. It was the infomercial brand that is a impulse buy that may work or may not work. You know, it's one of those things. It's like, it was not luxury.
And if you buy one right now.
That's right. It was that. It was absolutely that. So much so to where when I came on board, because of my marketing background and because of the CEO knowing that I had more to offer than just being the makeup artist or the global director for the line, he also was like, okay, I need you to get me this account. Work your marketing magic.
Gotcha.
Write a letter. Send get an invitation to go and meet this buyer. And that's what I did. I mean, for the first year of me working for that company, I did not work in a makeup artistry capacity.
So it started to change your profession a little bit.
Exactly.
Which I
loved it.
You did?
I loved it. I loved it because it allowed me to do what I already did naturally, which was network, marketing, meeting, connecting.
So did that pull you away from the creative side for a little bit?
No, I was still doing the creative side.
So
for
you
the
were doing
brand. I was
both.
doing both. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was doing both. Because like I said, it just, at the time, it was not a complete line. It
Sure.
really wasn't. It was just like the airbrush and then a few colors, foundation colors, and like one other, like a bronzer or something like that.
So what were you selling? Were you selling the airbrushes to companies? Big
That's
chains?
right. That's right. What I came on board to do was make the brand more of a luxury brand.
Okay.
Because when you see these brands in the department stores, that's what you feel. You feel that luxury, that upper,
Echelon.
Yeah. You see the picture of the beautiful woman and the people helping you, the product specialists and everything. And that is the feel that he wanted to give to this brand because it wasn't there.
Okay.
So much so to where when I would try to get a meeting with a buyer or a retailer or whatever, they would be like, not so much. Is this a toy? Like, what is this? Like, this isn't beauty.
Yeah.
It's not beauty. It's gadget. So he was like, okay, we need a shift. We need to turn this into beauty, into luxury beauty. And
that's
so
a good word, gadget.
Yeah. And that's what I did. So I brought my experience as far as production and getting girls together to do photo shoots and videography. I don't do video, but I do art direction.
Sure.
And that's what I had done for the agencies. You see what I mean? For the modeling agencies.
Well, and then working for this company, it seems like you were able to build this brand, expand on the image, help from the marketing aspect, do the sales. It's choreograph the different shoots and the videos, get it from a gadget to a brandable product that you can sell in a display case. Absolutely. So you're almost running this whole entire company.
That's exactly what it was.
And at what point were you like
training the call
training
center,
everybody too?
Everybody, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah.
So it was either they were going to give you a piece of the company, or Marc Harvey Beauty was going to be born.
Exactly.
So did you? I don't want to skip to Marc Harvey. What did you do after that? What company did you go to? Because you've been with a couple brands.
Yeah. So we did end up getting into the retailers after revamping the brand, after putting the boom Marc Harvey touch on it.
Okay.
And I brought a retail team.
Did they let you have your Marc Harvey line within it?
No.
That's why we're doing.
But I will say this: every buyer and every retailer only wanted to work with me.
Sure.
So that said something,
Absolutely.
They were like, okay, I had become synonymous with that brand. I was on the infomercial for 4 years. I was the first African-American male to sell cosmetics on Home Shopping Network.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Go
for 3 years.
Go back and say that again. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I was the first African-American male to sell cosmetics.
Wow.
And when I say sell, like they didn't have me on there as the makeup artist, because there had been other artists on there. There had been other artists that were kind of in the background doing the artistry, but I was the on-air brand ambassador.
That's amazing.
With working with the host to sell the product. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was fun. And Canada.
I never knew
Shopping
that
Channel
about
Canada.
you.
Yeah, I did. I love Canada. I did that. It was 2 years. 2 years, and then we finally got someone to take over because.
Well, let's jump over Luminous there because we're giving them enough airtime. What came next?
So after that, after that, I had met an amazing brand out of Taiwan when I was in Paris doing a trade show. Beauty Beyond trade show. It's called Beauty Beyond. It's a really big trade show in Paris.
Okay.
And it's brands from all over the world that come to this trade show. So it's suppliers, it's brands, it's people just wanting to make connections. And
who sent you to that trade show? Luminous. Okay. I don't mind mentioning that.
Right.
Okay.
So let's back up. I had, prior to Luminous, I had worked for L'Oreal. I had worked for Bobbi Brown. And done some freelancing for a brand called Tarte.
Okay.
So, yeah. While I was in Sephora. So those were the baby steps to getting me to be able to even apply for the Luminous position and say, hey,
I know
this
my
is
shit.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Trade
show, I met this brand who, they incidentally were the suppliers for all of the top airbrush lines in the world, right? So they were the gadget supplier.
They're the one that manufactures it.
They were the manufacturer.
Gotcha.
They didn't manufacture luminesces though. And so they had seen me on Home Shopping Network, and they had just seen the numbers, man. I mean, I was, dude. You would have thought that I was selling
Correct.
Popeye's chicken sandwiches on Home Shopping Network. I mean, you really thought I was like, I was selling airbrushes like it was like bam, 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 bam. I mean, I think my first airing, which was a Today's Special where they do the airing 24 hours and then you're there, like you have to sleep at the studio and you're there every 3 hours. Yeah, it's really plush. It's really nice. They have beds and everything.
I've never been there.
Oh, it's really nice. It's really nice. Yeah. I did, I think, 17,000 units. I moved 17,000 units. So I made him, $2.5 million in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I had enough of that after 3 years. And after him like saying, okay, no, I'm not going to renew your contract. Well, no, he didn't. He never said he wouldn't renew my contract. It was always, I'll take care of you. Don't worry.
Empty promises.
Like, empty promises. I was just like, you know what? So after that trade show, when I met this manufacturer, I was like, they started vetting me. They were like, man, we're seeing these numbers that this guy is pulling, and we need him on our team. And so
it lends itself to that relationship.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
And what company was that?
That was a company called Sparmax.
Okay.
And at the time, they were only doing white label or OEM.
Yeah.
So again, they are the suppliers for
everyone.
For everyone. But they wanted a piece of the industry. You know what I mean? They wanted to, they were tired of just doing wholesale or distributor pricing.
Of the times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're like, okay, we want to be able to create this product and mark it up 8 to 10 times.
Just like everybody else does.
Just like everybody else is doing. And the only way we can do this is by bringing in someone that is doing it, that knows how to do it. And so that was my first experience with creating something from the ground up.
Yep.
Like ground level, like I freaking traveled to Taiwan, met with these people. Like it was amazing, but it was a lot of hard work. And we created Element 2. That was the name of this, but it was more for pros than for the everyday consumer.
Gotcha. Well, and that's, it's something for our audience too, as entrepreneurs, the ones that are inventors or they develop their own products, is when you develop a product, you can license it to different big brands.
Exactly.
You can turn it into a white label system where you send it to everybody and just drop their logo on it.
Exactly.
Or you can white label it, OEM it, original, what manufacturer? What's the E for?
Right. OEM.
I don't know.
Original equipment manufacturer?
Maybe.
No. OEM, yeah.
It popped out of my head. It sounds
OEM,
good.
ODM.
Let's go with it.
Yeah.
But you can do white label.
Yeah.
But also when you do white label, there's nothing wrong with knocking off your own company or building your own brand so that you get to take advantage. You're the whole supplier, manufacturer.
That's right.
The distributor if you want.
That's right.
And you can also launch your own brand.
Yep. That's what I'm working on with the skincare side.
Yeah, I love it.
Marc Harvey Beauty.
You're working on some white label stuff as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And the brand really lends itself to that because right now the products really are straight for the consumer. It's like consumer, what is it? DR. Yeah. Direct to the consumer. The spas love it. Everyone loves it. And so I'm like, okay, so I need to brand this myself and then also, make it available for spas and whoever else wants to use it in their establishment.
Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's fast forward to MarcHarveyBeauty.com into that brand.
I know. I feel like I lived 9 lives.
Yeah, we'll be here till 10 p.m. talking about it. We'll get you on the show to talk about some of those other stories. I think we got a couple of our own stories.
Oh, God.
We'll share that. That's a different show.
That's a whole different show. That's After Dark.
Yeah. You going to make me start that?
JWeis After Dark.
JWeis. What's up, dog? What's up, HTC? How you doing back there, brother? Need to get you a microphone. So Marc Harvey Beauty. I want to talk about the grit and grind of it. I want the griminess. I want the legit. Was that HTC I heard back there already? When did you decide, okay, I want to start my own line? And I want to know how you got funded. I want to know the bullshit. I want to know the downs, the ups. I want the grit and grimy.
So after creating Element 2, after doing all the traveling for that, doing the press, tour, I said, you know what? I can't continue to do this for other people.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't look at it like, I wasted my time or I wasted my energy. It was a lesson.
That's amazing that you look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you learn so much. You get the connections. You open the doors. You get to use somebody else's investment.
I learned so much. Like, it was amazing.
So you wouldn't change it for the world?
I would not change it. No, I wouldn't change it. So that was the impetus behind me creating Marc Harvey Beauty. Was I'm not going to do this shit for nobody else anymore.
Yeah. So now I'm at the level. I'm tired of building other brands.
I'm tired of building other people's dreams, really, too. Not just brands, right? I mean,
sure, their futures.
Their futures. I mean, they're doing pretty good right now because of
what you create.
what
you helped
think.
Create.
So
at what point did you say, all right, enough's enough?
So
I'm doing it myself.
So I lit that fire under my eyes and was like, hey, I got to do it. I have to create something that, I can fill a void, like what was missing in the other lines that I created, what was missing in the other brands that I created. And so that's what I did. I created something that was going to be inclusive, that was going to be for, skincare lovers and makeup lovers, that was going to be for consumers as well as businesses, as well as spas. And that, that's it. That's what I did. I feel like in doing that, you kind of do have to do all the things that I've done in my career to understand what it means to create something for everyone.
Sure.
Right? Because I think that's what people do. They're like, oh, I want to have an eyelash line, or I want to have a lipstick line, or I want to have this. And it's like, you got to think beyond that. You got to think like, I need to create something for everyone, for the masses. How am I going to make my brand be as inclusive as possible, so that's what I did. I created the makeup line that is amazing for the pro artist as well as the consumer, right?
So is that what you started with? Is that your flagship product?
The flagship product is the Airbrush Foundation.
And I don't know shit about makeup, and Laura was going to be here to help me through this part of it, so I apologize. She's not here, but is it a palette that you start with, or is it different option? Is it for the airbrush?
It is for the airbrush.
Okay, so it's all based around the airbrush.
All based around the airbrush.
So you started with the airbrush plus all the different foundations to go with it?
Exactly. And a lot of people may say, well, why do you keep doing the airbrush? Like, well, because I mean, that was what I had the most success with,
Laura uses hers every day.
Absolutely. I use it every day too. Boo. Yeah. So that's what it is. And that's what I specialized in, is creating colors and color science around that particular formulation.
So why not do it for yourself? It makes sense.
Absolutely. And I've worked with chemists. I've worked with, brand developers to do this for other people. Why not do it for myself and do it better? So that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it, but do it 10 times better.
Well, and it's an extremely saturated market out there.
There you go.
So it takes some balls to just want to dive into this industry, and you better know your shit if you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Knowing what you were going up against and creating this product, what was your thought process and getting started? How did you fund this?
So I'm self-funded. Oof. Yeah, I know.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. But I wanted to do that because of my experiences. Because, I was like, you know what? I have to grow this on my own, because I don't want anybody else to, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line be like, okay, I'm ready for my cut, or I'm ready for, I wanted to grow the brand organically.
What was the initial investment you put in?
$50,000, which is nothing, but here's the thing. I already had so many of the tools, a lot of,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I knew I needed. Like I have a friend.
Just knowing the people.
Exactly.
The network.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Like sourcing, logistics, all of that, where some people would be like, oh, I got to pay for this. I got to pay for this. I got to pay X amount for this, X amount for that. I didn't have to do that.
Yeah, well, you'll spend easily 6 figures just learning what not to do.
Easily. And that, dude, so let me tell you, I might be, we got to talk about consulting after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have had 2 of my very good friends who I know have made amazing money in their careers as, you know, they owned a photography, videography, and they worked with the biggest names from magazines to brands. They were like, we want to get in the cosmetic space. We want to get in that, you know, whatever. Didn't consult with someone who knew what they were doing, and
Gone.
$500,000 wasted.
Yeah.
Wasted. Done.
That's
Like,
and that's one thing for all entrepreneurs.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's why sometimes it's better to start in an industry as an employee,
That's
work
right.
your way up.
That's right.
Just like your story. You meet the people, you get the connections.
You have to.
Even though you're building somebody, you know, I've got friends at the top of some company, whether it's an electrician or whatever, you know, and they're, you know, Johnny, I see you doing this and this and this, and
Right.
I'm making this amount of money. I'm almost at my ceiling. What should I do? And it's like, dude, you got fucking life easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get that guaranteed paycheck. House is paid for,
People that all
cars
the
are
time.
good, the wife, the family.
Right.
Don't fuck up a good
No, right. Not unless, like you said, unless you know the steps that it takes to get there.
You
Like,
jump to trying to do it yourself. There's so much that you don't know.
so much.
And
So much.
sometimes on the other side of it, you learn everything and you decide you want to do it yourself. So
That's right.
it just
That's right.
depends on what industry you're in
Yeah.
and if it makes financial sense, I guess,
Right.
to take that leap.
That's what I'm saying. If you're willing to take that risk,
It's
because it
risky.
is a risk.
Absolutely.
No matter how you look at it.
You don't know if it's going to work or
You
not.
don't know if it's going to work.
I've done very well, and I've had my ass
That's right.
handed to me.
Feast and
like
famine.
a beast.
I mean, everything.
But that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, that's part of
You're
it.
either going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on your way to learn,
That's right.
or you can do it through somebody else's money by being an employee.
That's
and
right.
then when you finally get to that point where you want to take a leap,
Right.
take that leap, but be financially prepared.
That's right.
Have some stacks and savings.
That's right.
So that when you are ready, you can cover your weight for at least 6 months.
That's right. And that's what happened with me. I was like, okay, this is not a huge investment, but guess what? The only thing I had to invest in was product. Everything else I did myself, or either knew who to get whatever I needed.
Well, that-
from
and that's
photo
what's
shoots
amazing.
to everything.
because your
Yeah.
overhead wasn't,
Yeah,
you know,
no,
too,
I had
too
nothing.
large.
Exactly. And because the product is, it's not, you know, a full line. It doesn't have your brows and your lips and your, you know, mascaras and all that. It is basically just for the complexion, right?
Okay.
So that's what I specialize in.
So let's talk about
Product
what
for
products
complexion.
do you have in your line?
So I have the airbrush, I have the foundations, the airbrush foundations, the airbrush shimmers, the airbrush bronzers. Basically, a person or a client, woman, guy, whoever wants to wear the product can do the whole complexion with the airbrush.
Okay.
Then I have my skincare line, which is organic skincare, and it's just great for all skin types. It really is. If you have tried everything else, whether you have, you know, acne or premature aging or, you know, rosacea or spots, blemishes, whatever, if you've tried everything else, I say go organic. It's an amazing product. We're
How many different products do you have in the skincare line?
about 25
Okay.
SKUs.
And
yeah.
how many different palettes do you have for your airbrush?
For the airbrush, so it's not like palettes.
I'm using the wrong terminology.
Right.
My bad.
So it's
What are the different
products,
colors?
The colors, yes. So I have 20 shades, a
Okay.
range of foundation shades. I have to say that, I mean, there has never been, and tons of makeup artists use my product. So I've had the makeup artists for, you know, the Miss USA, Miss Universe, you know, other celebrity makeup artists use the product on video, shoots,
I
and
see you
everything.
all over the place.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing is that it's not just me anymore. You know what I mean? I actually have have little fingers out there. I have like the other artists using the products now that can, you know, endorse and validate the
Your
product.
advocates,
now.
your influencers, affiliates. Is great.
Absolutely. Not as much as I would like,
Sure.
but
We can talk about
it's
that later.
growing. Yeah, it's growing. It's growing. I feel like I have some good ones. You
Yeah.
know, the people that are really working.
Well, and that's hard to find these days.
Exactly. Actual working artists.
People that actually go to work.
That's right. So yeah, I have yet to find a shade or a color of a person that my brand has not been able to
And can you mix colors together?
You can.
Okay.
You can.
Now, I guess that's what the contouring is.
You can. Right. You can do pretty much everything that you can do with conventional makeup, you can do with the airbrush.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it has your skincare quality ingredients in it too. Sure. So it really is something that's good for your skin as well. In times past, it used to be that you would only get airbrush for like a special occasion because it was really heavy and it kind of looked like airbrush. It kind of looked like, it
had a specific
look, right? You know how the brides always looks, they always look perfect.
Like spray tan
dolls.
is just different than tanning.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. So this,
but it's gotten a lot better. It's not like that anymore.
Not like that anymore.
Yeah.
No. So that's what this is.
Okay. So you got the airbrush, you got the skincare line. What else?
That's it for right now. That's
and that's plenty. I mean, you're talking 20 shades here and 25 products here.
Yes.
That's a lot of SKUs.
Yeah, it's a lot of SKUs.
So do you warehouse all that here?
I do.
Okay, so you in-house it here, you warehouse it here. So I'm assuming you do all the drop shipping.
I do.
You do it all.
I do. I know. I have help, but come this coming holiday, it's about to really.
It's time for you to get some more help.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me, what's next for Marc Harvey?
What's next, man? Just trying to make
sure. Is it just grow and optimize what you have?
That's exactly what I'm focused on right now.
Yeah.
And because the way I have it laid out, like, okay, I have my consumer products, I have my spa products, like for the skincare line. I did tiers, right? I did the essentials, right? For everyone, for guys, girls, teenagers, just anyone looking for that basic essential kit for their skin, right? They're like, okay, I want to start on something. My skin's not looking the best. I want to start using something.
Yeah.
That's for you. Then I was like, okay, I want to do something for spas because the spas got to be a little bit more higher end, right? Yeah. So then I did the spa line. Then I did something for high-end retail, which I'm super excited to say I have a distributor that I'm working with in Brazil and Europe to do a launch in Europe next year.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. And I'm in a chain of spas here in the States called Body Bright. And it's actually an international chain, but they have 49 here in the States.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just did the rollout in Texas, and next year I'm going to be rolling out the rest of the locations.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
A whole
it's
bunch
going.
Of stuff in store.
It's going. Yeah. It's going. Yeah. And like you said, I'm just wanting to focus on what I have and keep growing and
keep doing you.
Keep doing me.
Keep doing Marc Harvey.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It hasn't been easy. It is not for the faint of heart. Let me tell you. It is not, like you said. It's that risk. It's
You make it look easy.
Man. It's not, but it is well worth it.
Well, Marc, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us about your beauty journey. It's been absolutely beautiful.
Appreciate it, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We got Marc Harvey in here, the beauty expert. If you want to know more information on Marc and his products, go to markharveybeauty.com. We'll go ahead and throw his information at the bottom of this and at the end of the description. If y'all got any value out of this, share this, leave a comment, let us know how you liked it. We appreciate y'all tuning in anytime you can. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Marc Harvey, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see y'all on the next one. Take care.